So viewers, joining me now is a very special guest from Israel. Her name is Masha Michelson. She's an IDF spokesperson. Thank you so much for joining us here on CNN News 18.
Thank you for having me.
Well, two rounds of military strikes have already taken place by both sides. What is the ultimate objective which Israel wants to achieve by carrying out strikes on Iran?
We have to think about what is Iran when we think about what's happening in this current operation. And in Operation Rising Lion, we're dealing with an existential threat to Israel. And Iran, over the past 3 years, have been developing a triple existential threat, that being the nuclear threat that they have been developing secretly and covertly over the past few years, the ballistic missiles, the thousands of ballistic missiles that Iran possesses that can cause extremely severe damage to civilian buildings, and of course, the network of proxies that they have built around Israel, among them Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, that they have been operating in this multi-front war against Israel for the past year and a half and more. And so our goal within this operation is to remove the existential threat, because this is the 11th hour. We cannot allow Iran to be an existential threat to the people of Israel, to the region, and to the entire world. You say that there were 2 rounds of strikes. We're seeing, unfortunately, damage to the Israeli home front, but I would like to ask you a question. Those ballistic missiles that are hitting homes, what would it look like if one such ballistic missile would have a nuclear warhead? This is unimaginable, and this cannot be allowed. And so Israel has to act now.
Okay. I also want to know, what is your assessment? Who all have been killed in first day's strike by Israel, and which all nuclear facility of Iran has been destroyed by Israel? If you can share a bit of your assessment on the destruction caused by Israel in Iran.
So, as you say, what we've been targeting is a wide array of targets, military targets that have to do specifically with Iran's nuclear capabilities and their ballistic missile capabilities. And the eliminations that are taking place are eliminations of the IRGC's top levels of command. All the generals that are closest to the supreme leadership are now no longer a threat to this region. We're talking about the 3 top-tier generals of the IRGC, the commander of the IRGC Air Force people.
Can you give us the names? Can you give us the names?
Yes, of course. The commander of the Air Force, Haji Zadeh. This is a person with international blood on his hands. He is the person who was tasked with Iran's plan to destroy the state of Israel, and he's the one responsible for the very, very dangerous ballistic missile and UAV attacks on the state of Israel last April and last October.
And other than him, if you can give some more names to us.
Top-tier generals within the IRGC. I will not be going into all the names, but we're talking about dozens of operatives and senior commanders that are making it very difficult right now for the IRGC and the Iranian regime to retaliate against Israel.
Yeah, and talking about the second part of my question, which all nuclear facilities have been hit by Israel? Natanz is one which have been confirmed by the Iranian side. Other than Natanz, if you can give some names to us.
So I will not be giving a lot of the names because the operation is still ongoing. Those are not just 2 waves of strikes. It's something that is developing. We have been maintaining non-stop presence of our Air Force in Iranian airspace. And yes, we have struck the biggest nuclear facility in Iran, in Natanz, and have caused it severe damage, even more than we had anticipated this strike to cause, setting back Iranian nuclear efforts significantly. But there's still a way to go, which is why we're still acting.
There's a lot of curiosity as far as the techniques used by Israel in this warfare against Iran. If you can talk a little bit about it, whether these strikes were conducted by Israeli Air Force planes, or in fact there are reports during the rounds that Israel had managed to develop secret base drone launch pads near Tehran, and through that the attacks were carried out. Talk to us a little bit about that.
So what I can tell you is the air operations that are continuing even as we speak. Yesterday, we struck 80 targets in Tehran alone with our Air Force. That requires incredible coordination and intelligence efforts and the technological efforts for that to happen. We're striking aerial defense targets to make sure that the path to Tehran remains clear and operationally free for us to act upon. And while I will not be referring to activity by other security agencies, Israel has made a shift in the paradigm and the reality in the Middle East. Tehran is no longer isolated. The path to Tehran is paved, and we will keep striking in Tehran and deepening our achievements there.
Can you confirm or deny that Israel did manage to come up with a drone launch pad near Tehran? Can you confirm or deny to us at this point?
I will not be referring to other security agencies' operations.
Okay. Okay. In fact, Iran has alleged that Israel has hit its civilian areas. In fact, there were videos also of civilian areas gutted after the strikes by Israel. What do you have to say on that?
I think those videos are just further proof of who our enemy is. This is the IRGC. For years now, they have been secretly developing a nuclear program, and they knew that this is something they need to hide from the world, and they knew that they needed to make it difficult for us to act against it. So they spread out their abilities, their centrifuges, their labs, all throughout Iran, in Tehran, in Western Iran, and they've done so specifically and strategically within civilian population centers, because they know that what they're doing is illegal. What they're doing can only be interpreted as nuclear development for a nuclear weapon. And this is what we're dealing with, an enemy that hides behind their civilians, while we, in our turn, choose to forfeit the benefit of the surprise attack, and are even today publishing evacuation orders for people in Iran to stay away from military facilities, because our goal is to hurt and dismantle the nuclear abilities of the IRGC, of the Iranian regime. We have nothing against the Iranian people. There are a lot of Iranian Jews in Israel, and we understand that they're struggling under this terrorist regime that has been openly saying for years that they want to destroy Israel and they want to destroy the West.
If Iran agrees for a talk with the United States, do you think that this military operation can be paused for some time?
Listen, I'm a military spokesperson. I think that's a question to be left to our political echelon, and they can make those decisions.
Okay. Also, there are a lot of reports that US and UK are moving assets to the region in anticipation of further escalation. Do you think that this has turned into a full-fledged war? As I said in the beginning, that there have been military operations from both sides twice in last 48 hours. So how do you look at this particular development where US and UK are moving their assets to the region?
We have been very clear from the get-go that from our side, this is an operation to remove an existential threat from the people of Israel. This is an Israeli operation, and we're acting alone in this. But Iran is not only an Israeli problem. The Iranian regime is not developing rockets that range only to Israel. They keep developing their abilities with rockets that will be able to reach Europe. They are intending to have over 5,000 rockets, probably even 8,000 rockets in the coming months and years. And so if they weren't a global problem, then the reality would be completely different. However, I will say we are in close contact with our allies, and they are sovereign countries and they have their own armies. So every decision that they make is their own.
If Iran attacks US assets and personnel in the region, what will be Israel's response?
Israel has shown, and the IDF has shown, that every challenge that comes our way, we will be able to deal with. Just last night, as we were actively defending the people of Israel from an incoming barrage of missiles and dozens of UAVs, we were simultaneously acting in Iran, striking targets in Tehran, and over Yemen, striking Houthi terror targets. We are able to deal with every challenge that comes our way in order to defend our state and our people.
Iran is now threatening to jam shipping lines by jamming the Strait of Hormuz. What would be IDF's response?
I will not go into further operational planning, but this is nothing new. Iran has been disrupting the reality in the Middle East for years. They have been a threat to the freedom of navigation, to the freedom of trade. And this is this regime, and this is what they do. And the existential threat right now is to Israel, but Iran is a wider problem for the entire region and for the entire world.
A very last question, that on the very first day, and in fact yesterday, when Iran did strikes on Israel, whether along with the Israeli air defense systems of the other West Asian countries were also used to bring down those projectiles and missiles from Iran. Can you confirm or deny that?
I will not go into those details. We are in close contact with our partners, and we are sharing information over this developing situation. But Israel is defending itself, and as I said last night, our Air Force has showcased incredible capabilities of simultaneous actions, thousands of kilometers away from each point of action, and Israel will keep defending itself until the nuclear threat to the people of Israel is no longer there.
Can you confirm the number of casualties or injury caused by Iranian missiles in Israel?
Unfortunately, after last night's barrages, we have suffered several fatalities. So the updated number that we can give out now is 13 people that are confirmed dead. There are still search and rescue teams by the Home Front Command that are acting to rescue people who are trapped under rubble. And let me be clear, this is no misfire. Iran is targeting residential buildings, civilian neighborhoods, and population centers. They are targeting our civilians, while Israel is clearly targeting military targets. So this is a very difficult operation. We know that Iran has the ability to fire ballistic missiles at us, and we will keep working to rescue the people who are still trapped under rubble and tend to the injured. But this is not over. There's a ways to go, and we will keep deepening our achievements.
So what would be I'm not asking you about the operational details, but as I mentioned in the very beginning, the objective of the IDF, Israeli Armed Forces. So what would be the next course of action? Because on the very first day, the nuclear sites were hit. Iranian generals have been killed in Israeli strikes. Now, what more is left for Israeli army to achieve?
There's still a ways to go. Those targets are not a one and done strike. As I said, the Iranian regime has been spreading those assets all throughout Iran. And in order to actually get to our goal, we need to make sure that the nuclear abilities that Iran has developed are no longer there. So what we're doing now is deepening our achievements. We keep striking nuclear assets. We keep striking launchers and ballistic missiles aimed at Israel. We keep striking Iranian aerial defense systems in order to make sure that this threat to our very existence is no longer there.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for finding out time to do this interview. Thanks a lot. We appreciate that. Stay safe.
Good day.